Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Purgatory Ironworks. I am your host, and today I have a very cool little project for you guys. Again, we're going back to the book Colonial Ironwork, which is a photographic collection of colonial iron pieces in what was known as the Sorber collection. And one of these little candle items is pretty cool because it uses a couple of very interesting techniques. Super simple, but something that can help you out in the shop, and they make good things to sell on your table. So, this particular type of candle holder is a drive-in candle holder, meaning that it has a spike on it so that you can actually tap it into a tree or a post or anything of that particular nature. Now, this is going to be made from 3/8" square stock, but it's a one-piece item. But the trick is that it has the candle holder itself. It has to be flattened because it's 3/8 square stock, so you've got to have a lot of material to spread to actually make the candle holder itself. And the 3/8" bar itself is just not enough. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And shoop! So this is the actual picture right from the Sorber collection, and you can see the spike, relatively straightforward. Sometimes there's a T, sometimes there's a right angle bend. I think we're going to do a bit of a T. But the other thing is notice that in order to wrap around a 3/4" candle, which was about the rough size that they would use back then, you're going to need quite a bit of material, and just trying to thin out that 3/8 bar is not going to be enough. So what are our options? You can either start with a heavier bar, a 3/4" solid bar, and then work the taper down from it, but that's a whole lot of work. That's a whole lot of sledgehammering work. What we need to do is add material to the end of that bar that we can spread. Now, you can upset it, but boy, that's going to be a lot of work as well. One of the easiest ways to do this is to actually take the end of that bar and fold it back onto itself. This is known as an algibbity weld, which of course is derived from the Spanish hermanos de culo. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Let's take a heat and let's start our weld. So guys, here's our 3/8 square bar, and we're going to scarf this. Of course, remember, push that all the way to the end so that your hammer can actually fall below the surface of the face. And to do this, I'm probably going to turn about 1.5 inches. And that should be enough for us to make our piece. So even though it's about 1200 degrees, I'm not sure how the camera shows it, we're going to give it the sprinkles. And we're going to make ourselves a forge weld. Now, it's absolutely amazing, as I've been doing this colonial iron work, how many small forge welds I've been doing. They are not pretty. I'm used to doing like, a knife maker's forge weld where everything is super flawless and you're getting these beautiful patterns. Boy, it's a whole different deal with hardware. Instead of looking for precision and making sure there's no inclusions, I am just happy if the damn thing sticks. So if you start getting into this, your standards of beauty are going to lower drastically. All right, guys, we got a light weld. I'm just going to cinch everything up. It's going to throw a few sparks. I'm going to come back real quick. We're going to flux this joker again, and I'm going to take a full, nice hissing heat. All right, we got ourselves a good heat. Now, I'm going to start spreading this on top of the weld. Don't go from the sides, because that's going to actually strike against your shear line. Just going to go right here over the top. Now, one of the things is that little lip right there on the edge will have a tendency to come loose. So hammer it in, flux it, and take another weld if you need to. Shaky, shaky, shaky. Now, whenever I'm doing these forge welds, one of the things that I try to do is, again, is even after I've done the weld, if I'm working in that area, I always try to jump that heat at least to a low welding heat. That way, if anything slips, you have a chance to re-weld it and it sticks back together. It's just kind of a habit that I do. I cannot tell you it is the correct thing to do. I would need a smith of more experience than I have. But as a general rule, that's one of the techniques I do to make sure that those welds stay closed. If you work those welds at lower heat, they always have a tendency to slip or come loose, so I always work them at the appropriate heat. All right, got another good weld there, and now I'm really going to start spreading this piece. Now, of course, the flatter it is, the quicker it's going to lose heat. So it's going to take a couple of seconds to really get it to flatten out where we want. We're going to go something for the nature of about 14 gauge, and that should be enough material to do the job. Now, sometimes having a super sharp peen is not always a great idea. It doesn't move the metal as effectively as one that may be a little bit broader. So if you notice what I'm doing here, I swapped to a hammer that's got a different peen on it. Okay, we're getting there. It's just going to be a lot of different heats we're going to have to put in here to get this job done, but that's okay. All right, let's go again. Okay, looking halfway decent right there. Still going to be a little shy on the material, but you know what? We're gonna do something crazy right here. So you can see this is pretty darn thin. We're probably not going to get a whole lot more going left and right because we've gone so much this way. But what we can do is we can come in here and flux this and fold this back down on itself. So this is one of the awesome things about metal. If you think of it as Play-Doh, we should be able to fold that down, get us some more metal in the right areas that we need it, and just fuse it again and kind of keep moving it left and right. So let me grab some sprinkles, and this could absolutely screw this whole piece up, so I'm just letting you know. But we're going to try it anyway. You know, I used to be planned and careful about my demos. Now we're just going for broke. Let's fold this joker over. Let's give it the sprinkles. That's not terrible bad, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to sprinkle again, and I'm going to re-weld. I'm going to see if I can pull it out a little bit further left and right. Look at that, boys and girls. That's looking pretty darn good. I've got to go back and check the picture, but it seems to me that all those candle holders did in fact have very flat tops. I wonder if I just stumbled on exactly how they did that. I've never held those candle holders before, but those tops were in fact flat, and they would have either had to ground them or chisel them. I may have actually stumbled upon a technique I was unaware of. All right, we're going to finish this piece up. We're going to leave that conversation in because I think I may have just floundered my way into a new understanding of how those candle cups were done. Because again, there was a lot of material there. I mean, they had a full wrap, but that fold may have been a part of it. How about that? You learn something new every day. So now I'm going to use the anvil horn. I'm going to tell you something, guys. I think I may have learned something today. Let's go one more heat. You know, the thing is, there's probably a blacksmith at Colonial Williamsburg right now that's going, well, duh. Look at that. Today, folks, I have impressed myself. That looks very close to what I have seen in the pictures, and the technique of folding that piece down only occurred to me as I was doing it, but I'm going to bet you a lot of money if I actually had those candle holders in my hand, there'd be a seam on the back side like that. That's looking super close to what I saw in the photographs. I have stumbled upon a technique I did not know. How about that? All right, guys, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to give this a rudimentary wrap. like so. I want to get that bottom end a little tucked. I'll take another heat, and now we're going to go to our mandrel cone to actually size it. We're looking pretty good there, guys. Now, I'd like to have a flat-sided mandrel that was exactly 3/4, but I think that's going to do okay. I'm going to take one more heat, and I'm going to close these in a little bit more, and I think we're going to be good. Folks, I think that's going to be good enough for government work. That should hold a 3/4 taper, and if it's still a little too big, I can always tap it and hold it in. But it's got a good taper on there, so that should bottom out. So that should hold our candle well. All right, folks, so what we're going to do now, actually, we're not going to do the fancy T. I'm just going to do myself an elbow. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a heat down here and make a cut. We'll taper it, and then we'll make our bend, and we're going to have ourselves a tapered candle holder. All right, we got a good heat. Today, we're going to try to cut this without it flying off. And we are successful. And I don't have to chase it up off the ground, but I will need tongs. All right, we got it right here. Let's break her loose. And wunderbar, she is free. Let's turn it around, taper this bad boy, put my stamp on there, and make a bend. And we are in business, boys and girls. All right, guys, let's get our taper. Remember, when you're working your taper, get that point in there first and then work backwards. That seems to be one of the most effective methods for me. Remember to take care, don't leave any factory edges on that bad boy. Or factory surfaces, I guess would be a better telling. I'm going to take a little heat right here so I can stamp it, and then we'll make our bend at the vise. All right, let's walk it where it needs to be, and marked. Seal of approval. Purgatory Ironworks, 100% all natural, gluten-free iron products. All right, we are locking it in there. We're going to give her the tippy taps. All the tippy taps. That threw my holder off just a tad bit, but that's no problem. Now let's see if I can actually do this here. Tippy, tippy, tippy tap. Oh hell, that's good enough. That works. That works. I'm just going to flatten that up on the surface of the anvil. Let's clean her up, and I think we're good to go. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be for the OCDs of us. Now you can see with these other ones they had that square corner so they could nail it in. Some of them had that little T in there. Yeah, this is going to be fine. This will work. Let's cool her off and clean her up and take a look. So guys, look at that. Make sure you get a picture of that. That's what makes it valuable. But, I mean, pretty much straightforward. But I'm going to tell you something. I mean, I'm going to go back and look at my pictures again very closely and do a little bit of research. But that top right there looks damned identical to the photographs. I had assumed that they had either chisel cut it or ground it down. But I am pretty darn convinced at this point that what they did is they folded that piece back. How about that? I feel accomplished today, ladies and gentlemen. You know, one of the things I always talk about, and you hear every craftsman say this, you're always learning. But I gotta tell you, it is the absolute height of being in your craft when you're able to go back to actually walk in somebody's shoes that's been gone for 200 years, and in the process of doing that, learn something about what they knew and expand your understanding. And that is super awesome. Now again, there's probably a dozen smiths out there that have done this hardware work before I have that knew this. I simply didn't. And man, what a cool thing to figure out in the middle of a demo. Well, like I said, of course, I am beside myself. I mean, it's a super simple project, but it is really freaking awesome to figure that out. But that's going to pretty much wrap it up for today. Guys, again, what did you think? I mean, have you guys ever been working the iron and discovered something on that end of it? Please let me know. Outside of that, folks, thank you so much for being here. And if you enjoyed the video, as I always say, these videos are brought to you by our Patreons. Hand down, 100%. If it was not for our Patreons, we would not be here. So we're trying to make sure that they're listed, that they're given the credit. If you would like to be a Patreon, if you'd like to help us out or just hang out with the rest of us, please go over to Patreon/Purgatory Ironworks. Come by and see us. We've got some free stuff just for being a free member of Patreon. We've got cool behind the scenes stuff that actually talk about the business and the actual work of what we do here. It's good stuff. And it's a couple bucks, and it really helps us out. But folks, thank you so very much for being here. My name's Trenton Ty. This is Purgatory Ironworks, and I will see you next time.